YouTube, what's the deal? It's your boy Tank Be Chopping, and I'm coming at y'all with another haircut tutorial. On this haircut, we're doing a number 6 on top and a low fade. Let's get it. Alright, so I'm gonna start with my cordless wall seniors. I got my number 6 guard on there, and I'm just gonna go over the top and even out the top to the desired length. So a lot of people ask me when I do my low fades, do I like to drop them down in the back? Yes, I do. Like 90% of my low fades do drop in the back. I like to come right below the occipital bone. And yeah, I'm gonna show you how we do it right here. So I'm just making sure the top of his hair is all one length. So I'm going over it a couple times just to get it all down to that desired length. Alright, so now I got my number 4 guard on my clipper, and what I'm doing is I'm just coming up right up to that parietal ridge and I'm flicking out. Basically, I'm just doing a little down fading right now just to quicken the process up just a little bit. And I do this when some clients have longer hair on top, so he has a 6, so I just feel it's easier for me to get that number 4 guard and debulk some of the sides. And then I'm actually going to grab a number 3 guard right after this and do the same thing. So this is my number 3 guard right here, and I'm just doing the same thing I just did. Basically, I'm coming right below actually what I just did with that number 4 guard, and I'm still flicking out using a slight flick out motion, making sure I'm not creating any lines, debulking it, and just making it easier for me to fade when it comes to this haircut right here. So remember guys, the flick out motion I'm using is so I don't create too much of a guideline. You know, I don't want no guidelines up there. I want to fade all that down. Alright, so now I got my cordless wall detailers, and I'm going to create my initial bald guideline. So as you can see, I have it, I just took off a little bit right near that sideburn area. And I'm coming up right above the ear, and then I'm dropping it down in the back. Remember I said I like to drop it right below that occipital bone in the back of the head. So that's basically what I'm doing. Let's see how it's got that drop in the back. That's how I like to do my low fades. When people come in and ask me for a low fade, that's what I give them. If you ask me for a drop fade, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to drop it right below that occipital bone. So this is basically my shape for my low fades. I just think it gives the fade a nice look when you're done with fading in the haircut with this shape. And I'm gonna use that same shape that I just created that guideline with. I'm gonna use that same shape for the rest of the haircut. All my guidelines are gonna follow that shape. So now I got my Babyliss rose gold shaver, and I'm just taking all that down to the skin. Just because, you know, he wants a nice skin fade, and we want that to be nice and short. Alright, so now I got my clipper open, and I'm going to set my next guideline in. So I'm coming up about 3/4 of an inch. And like I said guys, I'm following the same shape that I created with the bald guideline throughout the head. So I'm raising it slightly above the ear, and then I'm going to drop it down again in the back. Now I close my clipper about halfway, and I'm coming up right below what I just did. So as you can see, I'm not going all the way up to that next guideline. I'm staying right below it, and I'm flicking out. Now my clipper is all the way closed, and I'm just tapping that bottom line, flicking out. And for the most part, this should take away most of that bald guideline, and if it doesn't, then I'll hit it with the detailer or with my trimmer if I feel that it needs to be touched up. Alright, so my next step, I got my number 1 guard on there. Clipper is open, and I'm coming up about another 3/4 of an inch, still following that same shape that I created. So now I got my clipper all the way closed, flicking out that bottom line. that will take away most of that guideline, but I will use the 1/16 guard if I feel it is necessary. So here is the 1/16 guard. You can't see them because I'm using my set of clear guards, but yeah, this is my 1/16. And I got the clipper slightly closed. I didn't close it all the way, so it's about halfway closed, and I'm just tapping that bottom guideline, and then I'm gonna close the clipper all the way and use that 1/16 guard to try to take out the rest of that bottom guideline that I see. See, the fades are already coming together and I'm not even done. So now I got my number 2 guard. My clipper is open and I'm coming up right below what I did in the beginning of the haircut. Y'all remember when I hit that 4 around the parietal ridge and then the 3? Well, now I got my 2 guard open and I'm just cleaning that up a little more. And then I close my clipper and I'm coming up right below what I just did. And for the most part, that'll take away most of this guideline, or I'm sorry, most of this darkness and most of this line. And then I will use the 1.5 guard to detail it and make this fade come together. And as y'all can see, I'm still using the brush, making sure I'm combing the hair the way it lays. That way it lays properly, and I can see what's going on with the hair, how it's looking while I'm fading it in. So here's my 1.5 guard. I started off with the clipper open and I'm adjusting that lever. So sometimes you'll get some of this line out with the clipper all the way open or all the way closed. I open it and close it throughout the cut just to make sure I give the fade that nice blurry effect that I'm looking for. We putting in work over here, looking good already. Let's go. Alright, so now I'm gonna start on this edge up, and he doesn't like to comb his hair down to edge it up. He actually likes for me to edge up underneath the hair. So basically where his actual hairline is, I'm not just edging up the hair that's hanging over, I'm actually edging up his hairline. So I comb this hair up and over, that way I can get the actual hairline nice and crisp. So some people in this case would comb the hair all the way down and edge it up, but like I said, his personal preference is he likes to edge up the hair underneath, so that's what I'm doing. Remember I said I would come back and touch up the bottom of that guideline if I felt it was needed. And there was some dark spots in there, so I'm hitting it with my detailers just to get that line out and to make this fade look even better than it already does. And this is all pretty self-explanatory, you know. I'm trying not to talk too much over this part of the cut. I just feel that y'all would probably learn more from just watching it. But as you can see, you know, I'm tapping the top of his beard, getting his beard nice and crisp. Now I'm lining up right underneath the jawline. This is his personal preference for his beard, so that's what we're doing. Remember guys, when it comes to doing people's beards, it's all personal preference, so you do want to make sure you consult with the client before you do anything. Make sure you ask them what shape they're looking for, if they like it thicker, if they want it thinner. You know, you want to ask as many questions as possible, that way you give it to them, you give them the beard shape that they are looking for. When it comes to lining up the inside of the goatee area, guys, I would recommend y'all using the corner of the blades. That way you don't take off too much hair. Alright, so now I'm fading the beard in. I'm starting with my clipper all the way open, and the closer I get to the top of the beard, I'm actually closing my clipper. And now I'm doing some slight detail work on the actual fade. I got my clipper open, and I'm using some corner blending, just touching up some dark spots that I feel need to be touched up on. And now I got my number 1 guard open. Like I said, still doing some small detail work and just adjusting that lever where I feel is needed. Alright, so I did not record the other side. Well, I did record it, but I'm not finna post it. I did the same exact thing, but I did want to talk y'all through the back. A lot of people, when it comes to these drop fades or these low fades, they don't know exactly how to basically connect the 2 sides with the back. So what I'm doing here is, as you can see, I'm still following the exact same shape that I made with my initial bald guideline, and I'm just doing the same thing, fading it up, but I want to make sure that it connects to both sides of the haircut. You know, you don't want the haircuts to look different on both sides. So now my clipper is open. I set my next guideline in, and now I'm taking out that bottom line with the same steps I did on the side. And here is my number 1 guard. I got my lever all the way open, and I'm coming up, and then I'm gonna adjust my lever as needed to take away that bottom line. And on this particular haircut, on this guy right here, the back of his hair is a little harder to fade. Most of the time it is harder to fade on people's drop fade. So, or I'm sorry, most of the time it's harder to fade in the back of people's heads. So I am going back and I'm already detailing it. I'm basically just raising that fade slightly, but I still want to keep it, you know, I still want to keep that drop fade look. So I don't want to come too high up, but I'm just already trying to take that bottom line out, and I got my 1/16 guard on there, adjusting that lever as I feel needed to take away that bottom line. And then I'm actually gonna go back with my clipper open and do some detail work already, because as you can see, there's still a pretty dark line that I don't like. So I got my 1/16 guard, and I'm just doing some detail work already just to make sure this fade looks, basically just to make sure this fade comes together nice. So one recommendation I will say when it comes to the back of drop fades, or just the back of people's heads in general, sometimes you want to come up a little higher with that clipper open, just so it's easier to fade in. You know, if you don't, sometimes you'll leave dark spots and it'll look like a little chili bowl, and we don't want that. You know, I'm sure my clients wouldn't like that. So yeah, so that's why I came back and I had to retouch it up with that clipper open. So as you can see, I'm coming a little more over to the side of the haircut with the when I'm doing this part of the fade, and that's just so I can make sure this whole hair or this whole fade connects well. You know, you want to make sure the fade looks connected, and you don't want to make it look like he has 3 different haircuts. So that's why I went over to the side and just blended that in a little more, just like I said, just to make sure the haircut looks connected. So now I got my number 2 guard on there. I started with the clipper open, and I just started tapping the top of that hair where basically where it needed to be faded. So I had the clipper open, and now my clipper is closed, and as you can see, I'm using that slight flick out motion. That way I do not create another line and the haircut comes together. Now I got my 1.5 guard, clipper is open, and I'm coming up right below what I just did. So I'm still using that flick out motion, trying not to create another guideline, and I'm right below what I just did. Closing the clipper and coming up right below that. So as you can see, I already got him. I already got the lather on him. I got the hot towel on him. I'm gonna put that Vibe FX to use. Give him a nice little face massage right quick. And now I'm gonna do my razor work, and basically I'm just going over everything I did with the trimmer. So I'm just making sure that line looks nice and crisp. And once again, you are gonna get a shot of my elbow and my arm in there. I'm sure y'all used to that by now. You wanna make sure you stretch that skin and keep that blade as flat as possible. Alright guys, so this is the cut right here. We gave him a number 6 on top, a low fade, and we lined up his beard. Let me know what y'all think. I think the haircut came out good. Looks pretty blurry to me. Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments. Make sure y'all like this video, comment. If you have not done so, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Until next time, YouTube, I appreciate y'all.